Richard Bruce here. So I wanted to just quickly read off some things that I wrote down concerning what use is uploading shape-shifting footage. Okay, so showing versus telling. What's the point of uploading shape-shifting footage? Telling does not change the minds like showing people. People inclined not to believe can explain away just talk or text. Okay? Picture, and especially motion picture, has the potential to make skeptics believers, and I've seen that. I myself would not have undertaken the investigation if I had not seen still photos and video of so-called shape-shifting myself. I would not believe to this day that 9/11 was perpetrated by Americans had I not seen the video showing the hole in the Pentagon, that a 737 could not have made it, and the collapse of Building 7 that looked like a demolition and nothing hit it. So video is obviously important. So what good is uploading shape-shifting videos? I've had several people tell me that they have found the faith of Jesus Christ after being awakened to the fact that their whole world reality wasn't what they thought it was. And it has also, for me, awakened me to reality that I was not aware of even as a Christian. For instance, still loving and watching many of my favorite childhood movies and movie stars and not realizing what the truth of them was. And it is it's gloomy, it's scary, but I mean, would I go back from not knowing the truth when I know that there's a real terror beyond? This is kind of an important fact that gets lost on a lot of people and what my non-believing viewers will criticize me for. But if you don't know that hell lies beyond this life, then you don't want to do anything too scary or negative in this life, because this is all you got. And you don't know that there's something beyond. You don't know that we're something that comes into this life and then leaves afterwards, and that there's definitely a moral question involved in what we are doing here. And this whole thing gets awakened into the consciousness of people who start to see this, even if they have no faith at all and no belief in Scripture at all. They begin to realize that there's something going on that they were not aware of. When people see this, they get a clear sense of evil. That's what I realized about this. I mean, when you start to see these shape-shifting anomalies and you realize it is not some kind of video error, I mean, you can tell there's something deep in your heart that awakens you that there's something terribly wrong with what you're seeing. And that's important, the evil aspect of it. As a result, I am closer to the truth by rejecting what is in these messages of television, movies, and music, and I draw closer to God and obtaining the things of heaven, because that's the other thing, that's the other option that you have awaiting you after death is heaven. And that's, you know, the old story, it's discredited. You think, you know, I'm fooled by the Bible that it's a reptilian creation. You know, for all, as I said in my review of David Icke's book, Children of the Matrix, for all of his great intelligence and research and digging and everything, and yet he goes on to explain how that the Bible is just another reptilian creation, a knockoff of older stories. It's like he doesn't get the power that Satan could have to create these illusions, these false documents, even thousands of years old documents that make it look like the Scripture is essentially a rip-off or a culmination of a story that these recent Jews made up. But all you got to do, friends, is carefully read the Bible to see that that's not true. You can see that it's the real God is behind it, because you can see the sincerity and the clarity. And also, if the reptilians had written the Bible, they wouldn't speak against themselves and they wouldn't speak against Satan as clearly as it does. There's no, you know, hidden agenda behind it trying to coerce you into doing something, some other evil. It clearly says, and plus, you can just feel in your heart that there is a God, and if there is a God, and you can create a planet, you can also get an accurate message to the people. And that's, that's really what people begin to realize as they look at this. They start to wake up out of their illusion. Even hardcore Muslims and Buddhas and other people that weren't believers, the book by Mike Peralta, Hell Testimonies, shows you that people in those various dreamy states of illusion wake up. When they see hell, they are awakened to what they inwardly sort of knew was not the right story, and they become awakened to the real story of the real God and the real heaven and hell. If people go on not realizing that our world is under the control of these evil beasts, we will only pass this on to our children. So it's an ongoing situation where, at the very least, there's something going on that we're not being told, and our world leaders are shape-shifting, our actors and movie stars are shape-shifting, our news media people are shape-shifting, and clearly they're not normal human beings or whatever this is. And so if we don't use what we now have in our possession, at least one thing that I know about for certain that can uncover this is video. And if we don't use it, I think that we're going to be looked upon by future generations as being too afraid to speak out and to use this tool that we now have to expose this truth and find out what it is and what's going on, and force them out of the darkness and into the light. And even if it means destroying them or destroying something valuable, and maybe some people might say, well, you're ruining something that was good just the way it was, and we can't find it. Well, we're not going to find that out until we find it, until we expose it. So just being too afraid, or saying, oh, there's nothing we can do about it, oh, they have technology we don't know about, oh, we can't do this, is really not a logical way to go about this. I mean, we know now that there's non-humans living among us, and we're being lied to on a grand scale. And from what Ike and a bunch of other people are saying, I mean, we are getting eaten and enslaved and hypnotized and lied to on a daily basis. And our children, our whole education system is designed to keep us stupid. And I can confirm that, because that's the way I felt about it. That's the way Ike felt about it. And that's why I said I liked him, because we had a lot of things in common. I felt the same way about education, not about learning, not about information, but the education systems that we were brought up with, that we're forced to go into. And this whole system, you can't be a doctor unless you subscribe to this idiot system. You can't be a lawyer unless you subscribe to this idiot system. Smart people wake up to it and say, screw this, the rare few. But most people are fooled by it, and they say, well, I got to make a living, I got to provide for my family and kids, and they get sucked into it. And once they need it, and they're in the, they get deep in denial, they can't change their minds about it, and that's it. They're sucked in forever. With the rude awakening of seeing these people are not human, people realize finally that there is a grand lie being perpetrated against us, and with evil intent, and rise up finally and destroy them. We the people have a right to know who and what our leaders are, if they are beasts, aliens, hybrids, whatever, so we know who and what we are voting for. And so now that we have at least one way to test, we've got to use it, people. Okay? That's the importance of uploading shapeshifter video. It changes minds that clearly yak and text and websites with texts and still pictures don't do. When you see the video, it is convincing. It causes even hardcore skeptics like me to go, whoa, okay, there's something there. Alright? Didn't believe it for 60 days after I first saw it on YouTube, but finally I got around to checking it out. After I thought about Frequency Fence's movie on The Matrix long enough, I decided, well, you know what, I'll go get the Blu-ray like she recommends for best resolution and check it out for myself. And when I looked at it frame by frame, I didn't trust anybody else. I don't trust her. I don't trust anybody. It could all be a bunch of BS, and most people are crazy who believe stuff like this. But I saw it, man. And I saw it. and I uploaded it. And that's what I think we all have to do if we're going to wake up our world. Because unless humans wake up and do something, we're going to be trapped by this forever. We've got to do something about this. So I wrote, we who are on the front lines of this realization, the few but growing number of people who know of this, these non-humans, will be seen by history as either using the video or not to wake up the world. Okay, and what about God, who made these serpents to eat disobedient humans? Maybe we shouldn't expose them and ruin this system. Okay, well, all you need to do is imagine you are the parent of a child who got eaten by a beast to dispel any doubt about what we should do about it. Okay. God calls serpents and scorpions. Scorpions, by the way, is the biblical term for the mantis aliens, in case you didn't know that. Or insectoids, as they're known, insectoid aliens, okay? He calls these serpents and scorpions the enemy, and should we not fight them? He calls them all the power of the enemy, Luke 19. If we really do not have any information about these creatures, should we just give up or fight for the truth to come out? Isn't it hopeless because most humans refuse to believe the video evidence, calling it everything else besides shapeshifting? Okay, and my answer to that was, the more footage people upload, the more credible and logical video makers will begin to upload, until finally newscasters who will not report it or who debunk it will look like the reptilians or sold-out humans they probably are. The more people see credible, rational, clear evidence of shapeshifting, the more intelligent and effective people will realize we are on the edge of a fascinating and explosive revelation and begin to make careers out of it. Okay, and the next question is, what if it's useless because Satan owns the money and will impoverish anyone who pursues this, or beasts will kill them? Okay, and my answer is, if people in general are too afraid to fight for the truth, or too selfish to risk their comfortable lives, then humans indeed deserve to be food and slaves, as we have been. Okay. Aren't these beasts or demons like hell, and that people who choose to continue to live in sin will live for themselves, not believing in hell until they die, and then they are punished? So why reveal the beasts if they are used to keep sinners happy and unaware of hell? Okay, and my answer is, God makes clear, no scripture is of private interpretation, and many people already know that the term beasts or evil beasts that is found in Scripture refers to some of these non-humans, at least some of them, because we don't know what all else we're seeing. We could indeed be seeing true aliens from outer space, and I think we are. So it's a confluence of events. It is clear now these non-humans are the source of outrageous crimes against humanity, and if you, your family, and friends are victims, should we, for the sake of sinners, not fight them?